a remarkable discovery caught on camera. We got to warn you. Some of what you're about to see in the next segment, hard to watch. A baby, though, found alive in a plastic bag in Georgia. Here it is.
2283. Oh, look at you, sweetheart. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Tried to warn you again, it's jarring to watch that, but the baby's okay. It's our big story today. Truly remarkable rescue here in Georgia. Newborn baby found wrapped in a plastic bag, left in a wooded area just outside of Atlanta, umbilical cord still attached. Newly released body camera footage shows heroes in blue saving a life.
She was in the woods.
How did you hear it?
We heard it from our house.
Oh, yeah?
Now, my kid said it's a baby. I said it's an animal. He finally got me up here. We could find it. She's right under here.
Oh, look at the precious thing. All right. All right.
2283.
Oh, look at you, sweetheart. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yes, look at
Breathing,
you.
breathing, crying, crying.
Trying to comfort her.
Oh,
10-4.
oh, look how precious you are. Yeah. Look who's here.
Grab me open it up.
We need
Like, get her. Clamp. Hey, baby girl.
yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart.
Hey. The grip.
Yeah.
Grab me. Yeah, grab the blanket. Grab the, hang on. Grab the foil. Her. Oh. Okay.
Counting real quick.
Perfect. All right.
Again, that precious cry, you can't help but have an emotional reaction to that. But thankfully, little baby India is doing okay. That's June 7th. She's been staying with the Georgia Department of Family and Children's Services law enforcement, still trying to find mom. I warned you, I should have warned myself, and I've seen that video a couple of times, but it just gets to you, this precious little baby. She's okay, though, and I want to bring in Sheriff Ron Freeman, Forsyth County. Give me your reaction when you see that video.
Well, you know, we've seen it so many times. It's still gut-wrenching every time you see it. Most of us are fathers or mothers that are deputy sheriffs here. Really proud of that deputy sheriff and his reaction. I don't know how you train people to be prepared for that kind of psychological hit, but he's a good deputy and probably a better man. It's gut-wrenching, but if you know the whole story of how many things had to happen for that young baby, that little girl, to be found, and to be found alive, she had been born within hours of her discovery, then you know that there was some divine intervention in that. God has a plan for that girl, so that helps us get through that side. But we're focusing on the criminal investigation now. We're focused on finding out who abandoned this child and why they abandoned this child, and that's why we decided it was time to release this body cam footage, so that somebody out there who knows a part of this story can hopefully help us.
So well put, Sheriff. There's a great plan for that little baby's life. How is she doing? I've seen some pictures. Looks like she's doing okay. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's one of the great parts. That's one of the miracle parts of this. Last reports we have from the foster family and Department of Family and Children's Services, she is thriving and doing well. She was a near full-term or full-term baby, almost 7 pounds when we found her. I was there at the hospital that night after she had been found. That deputy that found her, actually along with a couple of his other partners, they wouldn't leave the hospital until they got to see that baby again and make sure she was okay. She's doing exceptionally well.
Have you talked to those officers about what they went through, just that moment?
Yeah, I was actually with them at the hospital that night. Most of them were, as I said, fathers that happened to be all male deputies on that particular scene. They're fathers themselves. The deputy who you saw in the body cam footage, he's got several children. I know he and his wife, and he reacted as a daddy. I mean, I don't know how you take your badge off and do that, but the daddy, as you saw, came out in him. and he was concerned for that young girl and what she was going through. And again, that just refocuses us and reinvigorates us to be able to solve this, to find out who abandoned this child and why they abandoned this child.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Just so compassionate in the moment to treat this little baby like she's his own. Just awesome there. What kind of charges could whoever left baby be facing here?
Well, there's a series of charges. There's cruelty to children in several degrees that are felonies in the state of Georgia. There's abandonment. There's some other charges that could be levied. Again, that's why it's important for us to find out. One, not make any suppositions and guesses on what happened, but let the evidence drive us to where we find in doing that. So it is a criminal investigation. We're not holding anything back. I've given our detective division free run, free bank account, do whatever they need to do to solve this case.
Yeah, and again, just point out, there is a safe haven law in Georgia, 30 days. Baby can be dropped, I believe, at fire department, police, hospital, no questions asked, so just keep that in mind. Sheriff, thanks again for sharing a happy ending. Baby India, just can't wait to see what she's going to do in her life, and great work by Heroes in Blue, some of your fellow officers. Thanks again for taking time.
Thank you, Mike.